The convenience foods are more profitable than meat like beef and pork and poultry as profit margins decline, primarily due to persistent drought. Nowhere is that more apparent than in California, where a war is being waged over water. During a similar drought in the 70s, officials called for the Golden State's archaic water policies to be reformed. 40 years later, however, the reforms still have not been implemented. With California locked in its third consecutive year of extreme drought, the issue of water rights is also heating up. Some farmers, however, receive as much water as they want through an antiquated system of water allocations that was initially adopted in the 1800s.
In a good year, we wouldn't be able to stand here unless we got wet.
Al Montana is watching his 1,800 acres turn to dust this year because he does not have what are called senior water rights. A few miles away, however, other rice fields are flush with water because those growers get priority during a drought. That's because their rights date back to an era when the only claim was done through a notice nailed to a nearby tree. And the arcane laws leave the have-nots in a precarious position.
That's going to impact every small community, large and small community in Northern California because we're an agricultural-based economy.
Farm workers who depend heavily on the reliable source of water fear their livelihoods also are threatened without policy reforms. And major metropolitan areas further complicate the discussion. San Francisco, the state's fourth largest city, gets all the water it wants because of a claim made more than a century ago.
The system seems cumbersome to a lot of people. It certainly is. It works for San Francisco.
Another concern is who is using water. And the question of accountability was raised by an Associated Press report this week. The article revealed 4,000 companies, farms, and landowners with grandfathered rights use trillions of gallons of water annually. That group holds more than half of the claims in California. According to the AP, the rights system relies on self-reporting, and many records are fraught with errors and years out of date. So officials really don't know if rights holders are overdrawing or wasting the precious resource. The established rights holders are exempt from drought-related cuts in water allotments this year, despite the fact they are, by far, the biggest consumers. Conservation experts say that water policy needs to change.
Because we're going to see a lot of suffering and a lot of extra legal bills all over the place because we haven't done a particularly good job of quantifying our water rights.
With the epic drought showing no signs of letting up anytime soon, more California fields are destined to turn to dust unless policy changes. But some growers feel the answer lies less in the demand side of the equation and more on the supply side.
We have to be very diligent about developing more water resources in California.